Welcome to the Horror Friendly Podcast.
Okay. Let's do this.
We're back, baby.
Season 10, motherfuckers.
Motherfuckers. Hello, everyone. And welcome to season 10 of the Horror Friendly Podcast. We are back, bitches.
Hell yeah. I mean, we only took a week off, mostly to do the admin, but you know, we're back.
We're back from a long break.
Oh, really relaxing. But I mean, the fun thing is you actually went away. Like you actually generally have taken a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't, but I have.
No, I'll take one later.
Yeah, Tel's been doing basically everything on social media, posts, everything. So shout out to her because I've done sweet fuck all. So I haven't had a break.
That's okay. End of this season, I'll be well planned and it'll be your turn. So
Absolutely.
wings and roundabouts.
Exactly. But how are you, Tel?
I'm good. I'm still refreshed, still feeling ready for another season. I'm actually very excited as well because we've got like some exciting rebranding and everything else, which I'm loving. And I'm loving that we're coming back with I was gonna say a good film. I feel like it's a good choice for a podcast.
Okay. I'm nervous.
Oh.
Well,
how are you though? Did I ask that while I get up this description?
I'm good. Yes, I'm really excited about season 10. Like I think the rebranding will be really nice. It'll be a bit of a refresh. So I'm really excited for you guys to see that. If you haven't already, I'm just trying to think when this episode is coming out. You might have seen a teaser. If not,
there'll be a few bits. There should be some bits on our socials. Go check them out. Because we want to look so pretty.
Oh yeah.
But we are kicking off. Sorry, I just realized I was coughing into my hand while talking. It's not good for a podcast. Okay. But we are kicking off season 10 with the 2024 Longlegs, the horror crime directed by Oz Perkins. FBI agent Lee Harker is assigned to an unsolved serial killer case that takes an unexpected turn, revealing evidence to the occult. Harker discovers a personal connection to the killer and must stop him before he strikes again. I feel like that description gives away a lot of the plot.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, right? Like two major points you weren't really supposed to know about the occult or the connection.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be that happy if I read that before I went to go and see the film.
Yeah.
But okay.
Yeah. No. So I looked at nothing. I'd obviously seen trailers and stuff last year when it was all coming out, but I hadn't read any description or anything before I watched it today.
Cool.
So, and I know you saw it in the cinema. So do you remember your first thoughts?
I do. Yeah, I actually saw it twice in the cinema. It was one of those films for me that like when I watched it, I really liked it, but I felt like this film is kind of worthy of a couple more watches. So I went to see it again because I enjoyed it, but I also felt like there were probably quite a lot of things that you can miss on your first watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this film. I think mainly for the whole, I mean, we'll get into it, but like the marketing for it, I think was so cleverly done and sort of made everyone want to go and see it. But I think after watching the film, I enjoyed it for the most part. There were some things that were a bit confusing to me, but for most of it, I really enjoyed it. But what about you?
So I only watched it today. So I kept meaning to be like, as you said, the marketing was really good. I was like, I want to go to the cinema. And unfortunately, I don't live that close to a cinema. So I actually have to like plan to get to them. So I didn't get a chance to go. But I watched it today and oh my God, it was crap. Like I really expected to really like it because I thought when you saw it, you told me that it was really good. You really enjoyed it. And I'd heard mostly good things about it, but I just was like watching it going, I'm just not feeling it. Like, I just thought it was crap.
Okay. All right.
You're trying to be so polite. Like you can, she's actually swearing at me in her head. She's screaming bloody murder.
No.
I just don't get. Like again, a lot of the like reviews I read where people are like, oh, it's such an original idea. I'm like, it's not. It's trying to rip off. It's trying to rip off Silence of the Lambs. And but then it's trying to add in like even aspects of like Hereditary, where it's like, oh, it's a slow burn, and there's occult shit going on in the background the whole time. Like, you are just trying to combine like 2 or 3 different films. And I just didn't find it scary. I didn't, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So what do you mean it was trying to rip off Silence of the Lambs?
Well, it was that whole idea, obviously, because I think it was set in 93 or 95, it was around the mid 90s, where it was just like that. It was like, oh, well, we're going to have this female officer, young up and coming FBI agent in a class of predominantly males. I was like, oh, where have we seen that before?
Mm.
And then they gave her like, I was going to call it telekinesis. That's a completely different power. What did they call it?
Like she's I was literally saying it earlier.
The Shining, basically.
Yeah.
But then that was only relevant for like 5 minutes of the movie, and then it just fucked off. And it turned out that, like, I mean, it didn't fuck off, because then at the end it came back and it turned out she didn't have that. She was just connected to the devil through a doll. But it was just really, it was like, oh yes, I just happened to have this power. And I was like, what? Like, why was that mentioned as like a thing? And then even like the FBI captain was like, oh yes, of course, and then just accepted it. And I was like, this is the 90s, fuck off. Like, no one accepts that now, let alone 30 years ago. Like, I just, yeah. And there were just other bits where I was like, I feel like they're trying to like modernize it, but reality is in the 90s people were not that kind to each other. But then also it did seem older styled, because I was like, oh, we were alive in the 90s. Like, it wasn't this old style. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I was like, pick a time period, guys. Like, stick with it.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you say that, really, because I know that Oz Perkins was quite like, he was very aware that like the marketing and the trailer for the film was giving Silence of the Lambs, and everyone was kind of thinking, oh, this could be, the next big thing, this could be as good as Silence of the Lambs. And what his point was, that when people went to go and see it, it actually had no relevance to Silence of the Lambs. It was all about the occult. And it had, I mean, obviously you can argue that maybe Longlegs himself is quite similar to Buffalo Bill in that he's quite androgynous, very out there, which I think that there were a lot of similarities in that sense. So I did think there were similarities in Silence of the Lambs, but I think his kind of point, I think, was to throw people off.
Yeah.
And for people to be like, oh, this is kind of like the new Silence of the Lambs, let's go watch it. And then when you actually sit down and watch it, it's like, oh, this is fucking nothing like it. So I actually thought the opposite, where I was like, actually, this isn't anything. This is kind of its own film.
Yeah, I think the opening kind of, you do get those vibes from the like setting up of this character, and then it does go a different direction. But also, Longlegs I thought was crap. Like, I think this is my biggest problem with it, because again, like, okay, Buffalo Bill is probably quite a good example, or like Hannibal Lecter, because until Hannibal Lecter is caught, he was a very highly educated psychiatrist who, for fucking years, and depending which version of Hannibal you watch, was hosting dinner parties, had friends, had partners. Like, and that's the point, is serial killers literally fucking blend in. And that's what makes them so fucking terrifying. You saw Longlegs, like, that girl saw Longlegs in the supermarket, was like, the weird man is back. Like, that's the boogeyman from ghost stories and from the bedtime stories. That's not, for me, I was like, that's not a serial killer. That's and again, I know it was like, oh, he's involved with the satanic cult and all this, and I'm like, but again, no, like, serial killers and people getting away with this, like, if he fucking walked past a copper, they'd arrest him on the spot. Because you'd be like, I'm going to search your boot, I'm going to search everything. And yet somehow he was just walking around like, no, and I was just like, no, you've not, like, yeah, I was like, that's absolutely not scary, because he's supposed to be this scary crazy person. And I was like, no, the scary thing about serial killers is we don't know who they are.
Yeah.
So that really irritated me, actually.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I guess you could argue with Buffalo Bill. I mean, I suppose during the day he is kind of a normal guy. In the evening, I mean, it's a whole different thing.
And that's it, behind closed doors sort of thing.
Yeah, I see your point completely.
Yeah.
And it is very like obvious, like he was sus from the get-go. So yeah, I completely agree with you in that way.
Yeah.
Um, I do kind of love his characterization though. Like obviously it's Nicolas Cage. I'm gonna fucking love it. He's my boy. But I mean, I'll disagree with you. I thought he was excellent in it. I thought he was very Nick Cage.
But again, it wasn't Nicolas Cage that was the problem, it was the character. I was like,
Okay.
you've made, yeah. Although I did love that someone in their review was like, Nicolas Cage is acting way over the top. I was like, it's Nicolas fucking Cage.
Yeah, this is him being him. Like
I said, that's all he does is overact.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll let you finish your point. I just wanted to
No,
add
no, no,
that.
no, no, literally, it's true. Like I was watching the car scene again when he's like, "Mummy, Daddy," and there was a comment that was like, "This is just Nicolas Cage driving home from filming."
I was like, yeah, they just left the camera rolling in his car.
Yeah.
That when that bit came on in my head, I was like, rather than being a serial killer, he should have just joined a band. Like
He's got pipes.
He's got pipes, but he should have just joined a screamo band, screamed out all of his anger. He could have praised the satanic cult on stage. He could have had all the fucking followers. Instead, he's going around. I genuinely thought he was an old lady. When I first saw like the posters and stuff for this, and I saw that, I thought it was an old lady. Like, so I was like, dude, you could have, you could have rocked it. You could have been a rock star. But no. And it'd be the birthday serial killer called Longlegs instead.
Birthday serial killer. Black magic serial killer birthday guy.
Who knew Satan
don't you
was
hate
such
it
a
when that
fan of
happens?
Yeah, don't you just say who knew Satan was such a fan of birthdays?
Who knew? No, well, my point to Longlegs sort of like characterization and look, no, absolutely not. I agree with you in the sense that he is sus from the get-go.
Yeah.
But in a way, I kind of liked it because I think a lot of the tone of the film was quite low-key and I guess maybe a bit slow in parts. I didn't mind that because it sort of built it up better. And I felt like it was very similar to Silence of the Lambs in that you would occasionally see little snippets of Buffalo Bill and then you would go back to Clarice's story. And I quite liked that with Longlegs, they sort of mirrored that as well. But in terms of how he looked, like, I think they were trying to go for, as I say, the sort of androgynous look, the sort of look, well, because obviously like it showed that he had a lot of work done on his face and it was sort of giving that he wanted to stay young. Like Nick Cage was saying, Annals Perkins was saying that Longlegs kind of wanted to stay young for the devil and look good for the devil. So he would be having this constant work done and surgery done on his face.
A little flirt.
I know. Because there's one scene that's comes up in the past and he looks significantly younger. So then you can tell from then to now that it's just had a complete botch job on his face. Like obviously he's got this white powder on and this white paint. And he's listening to like T-Rex, like songs from the 70s. So he's really trying to kind of clutch at his youth. And kind of, stay sexy for the devil, So I quite liked that about him because I think that made him creepier. Like everything about his personality was to do with the devil. Yeah. He was a Satan worshiper and that's all he was, kind of thing. Which I quite liked because it was kind of like what you see is what you get. Whereas obviously you've got like the likes of Buffalo Bill and other horror villains, which are a bit more like you have to peel back a few, layers to kind of work them out. Whereas I think with this guy, it was kind of like, this is him kind of thing.
Which is weird because yes, but then at the same time, like trying to figure out how he was killing people without actually going in their homes and all that. Like I was like intrigued, but it just, I don't know, just didn't really buy it. Although I did find a thing where Nicolas Cage's makeup and mannerisms for the film bear some resemblance to the likeness of Marilyn Manson, who was viewed as a Satanist during the 90s and for the most part of the 2000s, and faced scandal over predatory behavior towards women. So some of his influence come from there, which kind of makes sense. But yeah, I just sorry. Yeah, no, I don't know, because it was all that. And I think that was the bit I kind of didn't understand is like, how the fuck are these marbles like connecting them and making them killers? And like, are the parents just forgetting that they're looking at a doll and not their child? Like, I think it was explained, but it was also a little bit like, okay, so conveniently the devil's working through these puppets and it's just magically making it all happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that bit kind of lost me. I was like, what?
Mm. Yeah, I know what you mean. I think the bit that confused me, I think, was when the mum shot the doll. And I don't know whether that was meant to imply that now Lee and Longlegs don't have that connection anymore.
Yeah.
But then obviously the fact that she couldn't shoot the doll at the end, did that mean that did Longlegs sort of power stop the doll from being shot? Or was it that she just ran out of bullets? Like that bit was kind of confusing to me.
Yeah, it was. And again, I couldn't figure out, like, could she kill the doll because her child had grown up? Because that was the other
Mm.
thing the mum kept saying is like, you've grown up, you've been allowed to grow up. And so I did wonder that, is that because the other kid was still a kid? Was that why? Like, again, like, it wasn't explained. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, so Satan's still in the doll, but we also know
Mm.
that the dad's currently killing the mum in the kitchen. Like,
I agree with you. I think that bit was a bit confusing. And I think it was one of those things where you do kind of like either sort of have to guess the ending yourself, or
yeah,
I mean, I went into a massive YouTube rabbit hole after watching this film.
I bet.
So there's loads of theories, and I
Mm,
guess I mean, I don't know whether there's like a definite answer, but there wasn't in the film. I feel like there wasn't like a definite answer.
mm.
Um, but sometimes, it's good to have answers with films like this.
Yeah, I think if you're
So
gonna try and go that far and complicate things, you
yeah,
have to give someone an answer, because you can't be
yeah,
like
I agree.
so complicated. Like, because no one's walking away going, "Well, that was clever," because no one knows what fucking happened.
Yeah, no, that's totally fucking fair. Um, no, that's fair. I do agree with you with that. I think some of it was a bit confusing
Mm,
and kind of lost me ever so slightly in some parts.
yeah,
But it's funny as you were saying about like the influence and stuff. Just very quickly going back to
yeah,
that. Um, it was Nick Cage and Oz Perkins. They sort of both had ideas and combined this whole character of Longlegs. So Nick Cage, he based a lot of it on his mum, who she had quite a lot of mental health problems.
right,
She was schizophrenic, and she had a couple of other mental health issues. She had quite severe depression, I think.
right.
And she used to put this heavy white makeup on. So he
Okay.
would he would base quite a lot of her on Longlegs. And he said, if my character is even a little bit good, it's all down to my mum, basically. Like, which I think is kind of an interesting.
I was like, I want to say that's sweet, but I'm not sure.
No, it's a very personal thing to put out
Mm.
there.
No,
That's
that's
for sure.
very, which is
Yeah.
so funny. Well, not funny, but so funny, because I read something similar, but about director Osgood Perkins, or Osgood Perkins. Sorry, I completely changed his name then. So he's the son of Anthony Perkins and model slash photographer Berry Berenson. He has cited that the film, which is mainly about mothers keeping secrets, was inspired by his mother Berenson, who stuck with Anthony Perkins despite knowing that he was a homosexual.
Mm.
So again, I mean, I'm trying to do the math of when they would have been married, because I haven't looked up the dates. But it's that where it's like mum's holding secrets, and
Mm.
you
That's
know,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, staying with her husband and child to. I mean, we all know how terrible it used to be. It's not much better now, but we're
Mm.
getting there. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like, yeah, keeping this dark secret away kind of
yeah,
thing.
to protect those you love.
Protecting yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, and I was like,
Um,
this is like you say, like everyone's kind of inspired by their mums. It
mm,
actually makes it quite a powerful film, not necessarily in the best way. If you're, yeah. So
yeah, I mean it's a lot to put out there. It's definitely a lot of
yeah,
personal stuff gone into it.
It was interesting because when Oz Perkins, the director, sent me the script and I met with him, he said, "This is a movie about my mom," which isn't what you expect to hear from a director of a horror film. And I said, "Well, that's interesting, Oz, because when I was reading this character, it became about my mom. I heard her voice. She wasn't satanic, but she went through a lot. And I heard her voice and the way she would move. And suddenly I thought, I could put all that into this character. That was an inspiration. If I'm any good in the movie, I owe it to my mom."
On the other side, not so personal, but it's still kind of personal, is Oz Perkins is a huge fan of Bob Dylan. And
right.
and Bob Dylan on one of his tours, the Rolling Review tour, I think it was,
Mhm.
he put a lot of white face paint on, like so Bob Dylan is Oz Perkins' god, basically. And then that was another little influence of how Longlegs looked. He wanted to put a bit of Bob Dylan in there as well.
Are we supposed to be wearing more white makeup? Is this like, is it a look? Is it a vibe?
I mean, Longlegs, are you a vibe?
Longlegs, are you a vibe? I did try to look it up because so the serial killer's nickname Longlegs, sorry, this is a really long paragraph, goes unexplained in the film, and that drove me insane because I was like, Longlegs is a shit serial killer name. Like, but then like it was one of the first lines in the film where he's like, I forgot my long legs or whatever it was, and I was like,
but it seems I wore my long legs today.
Creepy. But I thought they were going to explain what it meant. But apparently,
didn't he say it looks like I'm wearing my long legs today? Something like
that. Yeah. And I was like, does that mean you're a quick runner? What the fuck does that mean? Like, are you a grown up? But it's like then I saw somewhere that it's like the dolls that he was making had short legs.
Right. Okay.
So I was like, oh, is that like him fully? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, like maybe he's the adult kind of thing.
Maybe. So, but apparently, sorry. So it's actually a homage to an old nursery rhyme called Goosey Goosey Gander, with the earliest publication being in Gamer Girton's Garland or the Nursery Parannosis, published in London in 1784. An alternative version of the nursery rhyme is known as Old Father Longlegs and goes as follows. Old Father Longlegs can't say his prayers, take him by the left leg and throw him downstairs, which was like a hint because they kept saying, like the mum kept saying, have you said your prayers tonight? Do you say your prayers every night? And then it was like, oh yeah, prayers don't help us because it's all fucking satanic. And I was like, well, this is confusing.
In that part, was there something about downstairs as well? Because a lot of the time he talks about the man downstairs.
So I think when he says the man downstairs, he means Satan.
Yeah.
But I also think like if the mum says it, or sometimes he's referring to himself, because I think his workshop was in her basement.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So I think he was the man downstairs a lot of the time.
But I was just wondering, in that poem that you were just reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were talking about downstairs.
Yeah.
Weren't they? Yeah.
Yeah. So, they said throw him down the stairs. And I was like, all right.
Interesting.
But again, it's like, it wasn't really explained. It's just a random old Father Longlegs can't say his prayers. Okay. Is that because you kneel when you pray? Like, can he not kneel because his legs are too long? I'm still confused. I don't understand what Longlegs has to do with anything.
Yeah. I think this is one of these films that don't have all the answers.
Not even half of them.
So
you need a film to explain this film.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this. So a lot of the time we see the dolls, well, sometimes we see it the actual doll's perspective, like we did right at the beginning of the film, which I really loved. What did you think of the doll, obviously under the cloak and the eyes lighting up? Did you like that?
I did actually quite liked the dolls at first, and then I got confused about them. Like I don't think it was explained well enough what the fucking ball was about. Like, I mean, I get it. It was the devil in the ball controlling things, but it was just a bit, I don't know. That almost oversimplified it. I was like, what the fuck is happening? I quite liked seeing it from the doll's perspective because, again, that made it feel like there was a connection. It was really real.
Yeah.
When the girl, I've forgotten her name, she was the survivor.
Carrie Ann, yes.
Carrie Ann, I knew it was right. So I really did like it when it was Carrie Ann, because when she was like, oh, you were at my house yesterday. I was like, well, there's some fucking connection. So I was like, that's quite clever. When it was like they pulled the doll out of the floor and then it opened its eyes, that I thought was really spooky. But then it just didn't explain why. Did it explain why it was buried? Like, why did he put the doll in the floor?
I wonder if it was because there was one remaining survivor, whereas with the other killings, they all died. So it was kind of like to insinuate unfinished business kind of thing.
Maybe, or I suppose, I don't know, like, because the thing was when they broke the thing is when she then woke up or like came out of her trance. So I guess it was like, well, they'll know if they're getting close because things will, I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, it felt like a lot of guessing work. I liked that at points, because her mum definitely seemed like a hoarder. I mean, she actually did say at one point, I never throw anything away. But as she was walking through the house, you could see like a doll head in some of the piles. So I was like, I liked that they were kind of always present, but also really fucking weird. And yeah, is it that simple? Is it just like Satan was working through the dolls?
I think it was a lot. Yeah, I think it was black magic was being incorporated into these dolls. Yeah. So so he can kind of like spread the name of Satan, all of that good stuff. So I think
I did. I wondered if Longlegs was taking the piss out of the devil, because when they show him as a goat, but he's always like 7 foot tall and got the long legs. So I was like, is that why you keep calling him this? Like, I don't know.
So in terms of like, I guess, Nick Cage's acting and how he portrays Longlegs, it just wasn't for you. Like you didn't, because that was one of the highlights of the film for me. I thought he was incredible in it. I thought he did a really good job of being, I don't see like you disagree, but I think being creepy.
Yeah.
I think he was really effective in that way. And the way he would kind of change in that interrogation scene, I've watched that quite a lot of times on YouTube. And and how he kind of suddenly talks about the farmhouse and his whole posture and how everything changes. I just think he did such a good job.
No, this is the thing. I do think he did really well. I do think he was really creepy and he was very unnerving. My problem with it isn't his acting. It was the fact that, again, if I saw him in the street, the police would immediately arrest him. And for me, it was very hard to believe him as a serial killer, because for serial killers not to get caught, you have to be quite intelligent and you have to kind of be on the ball. And he just seemed like he was having the time of his, I suppose, because he was at that point, because he was never at the crime scenes, because it was always the mom doing it. So I guess he was just having the time of his life because he had someone else to do the dirty work.
It was like you were saying that people would just arrest him. Like, arrest him for what? Like, he's technically not doing anything.
True.
He is obviously doing all of it, but he's not physically doing anything.
He isn't actually committing the crimes, and he can't confess or anything. Like, so I guess that, you couldn't really like arrest him because there is literally no evidence he's even been at the crime scenes.
No, you can't arrest him for looking sus. Like,
if only we could, eh?
I mean, arrest him for the outfit choices. Am I right?
Oh my God. What was that? You can't even blame that on the decade. Like, come on. But this was it. And I think I really like psychological horrors because it's playing on your mind and it's scaring you with like things that, would just go unnoticed day to day and would scare the shit out of you, because it's like, well, you don't know. And your best friend fucking turns on you, keeping an eye on you. But like, it's that. And then suddenly it was like him. And I was like, well, obviously I'm not going to befriend this twat. Like, and I think it was just a very different
I get it
vibe. And again, don't be wrong, I think he acted it I can't say it fantastically. I think he acted it fantastically. As you say, that interrogation scene, and then when he starts that was the only bit I was like, the fuck, was when he started smashing his face. But I just, a lot of it was over the top, but I think it fitted the character, it fitted the whole vibe. But I was just like, what the fuck is this guy? And I was like, he's just fluke. He's just a serial killer by fluke. And it was, well, he is, because the devil's doing all the work. He's just actually making dolls.
Yeah.
That's his entire part in this.
Yeah, like I saw a Letterboxd review. It was like his only crime was trespassing.
Yeah. Which again is terrifying, because you're like, you can arrest for trespassing, but it's not a serious offense as fucking murdering.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's the interesting thing about it. Like, he looks suspicious as fuck. Like, even Agent Carter, even he's like, looks at a picture of Longlegs and he's like, you don't remember this guy?
You really don't remember this guy?
Like, everyone immediately is like, what the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
But as you say, like, he hasn't actually technically done anything. No. So he can walk around and be as sus as he wants to be. And I think that's why he's quite, I want to say arrogant, but I think maybe because he's so far gone in terms of just his mind is completely elsewhere. Like, he isn't in a present mind. His mind is just all about Sacism, the dolls, like that is his whole world. So he just isn't
which,
right, he's not here, basically. Like, he's
probably should be scarier. Like, in theory, that should be scarier, that there's this guy that's so confident in getting away with his crimes because he's not physically putting hands on, but he's still making it work. Like that should be terrifying. And I'm just like, who the fuck is this idiot? Like,
Well, I think talking of the interrogation scene, I think one of the things I liked about it the most was I think up until this point, you saw him as a bit more like there were just some like kind of fun slash sort of creepy scenes where obviously he's shouting in the car, and he's doing like the weird cuckoo thing,
yeah,
in the shop, like he's doing all of that, but in the interrogation scene he's a bit more serious and he's really talking. And I think he said that like you have to get down and you have to do the work, like work that gets dirty as it cleans, which I think is such a cool line. It's such a sick line. But he's looking really serious at that point. And that is more kind of scary to me, that it's like he really believes this and he's not just having fun with it, and he's not just playing T-Rex in the background, like he actually truly believes this.
no, I think you're right, actually, yeah, because there was that. I think up until that point, he was scary, but he was almost harmless, and it was almost like you say, like the cuckoo bit where he's like, oh, he's just fucking around, he's just, he does seem stupid, and then all of a sudden he's talking very serious, talking very almost smart, because he knows things he shouldn't fucking know. Like he knows the detective's name, and he's going on about the white houses and everything. And it's like you shouldn't know this stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that was, and it was a lot like, how do you know this stuff? How are you getting this information? So yeah, you're right. I think that was the kind of turning point where it was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But then he just killed himself. And I was like, okay, so what happens next?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the point. Like he kills himself like, I don't know, half an hour before the movie ends, and you're kind of like,
Yeah.
well, what's going to happen the rest of this time? I think one of the great, really sort of powerful lines was when he was just like, why don't you ask your mummy?
Why don't you ask your mommy?
Yeah.
And then I think at that point his work was done. So I think he had nothing left. He wasn't going to be in prison for the rest of his life. So he was like,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm out of here.
Because they only had one birthday left, and it was he already had everything lined up to go. So yeah, he was like, oh, cool.
Exactly.
Peace out, checking into the Satan Hotel.
Yeah.
Um,
What did you think of the SFX with the head smash?
I actually really liked it. And to be fair, I want to go back and watch it again because, like I said, I only watched it today. I do want to go back and watch it again because I do think it was really good. I loved the bit where it was like filming her against the wall, and then it like smashed and it just sprayed all that way. And I was like, that's pretty good. Like, I don't know if it would spray that way, because if you're smashing in, the blood's gonna go there. So I was like, either he smashed really fucking hard. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm like, if you crack down, the blood's gonna go down.
Yeah, I think it was pretty hard. I mean, his nose was caved in.
But this is the problem, because he was only doing his nose. I don't know. I want to see. Oh, well, I don't want to see. I'm not going to start trying it. But it was that where I was like,
Let me see.
To be fair, yeah, hang on, I'll just test it. But to be fair, the puddle was already there. So when he smashed his face into it, I just thought that was like a great touch. Whereas like, the blood just went over. Although she got like the tiniest amount on her, and I don't know how. Were they still connected at that point? I guess maybe it was just avoiding her on purpose. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. That's it, yeah. Because I think it was splattering around the walls as well, wasn't it? And then she only got a little bit on her.
Yeah, a little bit. And I was like, I feel like you should have more.
But no, I did love that. I did love the Hail Satan and then the head smash. I thought it kind of went from like 0 to 100, which I quite liked.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But yeah, so I did enjoy that interrogation scene. It'd be kind of interesting if you went back and watched that scene just to see if like you had a few more thoughts on it, because I didn't really until I watched it a couple more times, and I was like, actually, you notice a few more things.
Yeah,
so I do wonder, but who knows? You might not.
I mean, by the time people are listening to this, I will have, because I'll have had to edit. So
yeah. There was a very fun little fact, which I'm putting in very quickly.
No, go.
Was when they're watching him on the TV. So I think at this point, Agent Carter was talking to him, and Longlegs is singing "Happy Birthday" to Lee Harker. Yeah. So when they pause it, Lee Harker then said, "Oh, how long does it go on for?" Do you know what I'm about to say?
It was like 22 minutes or something. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, the lady says 24 minutes. And apparently Nicolas Cage did actually sing it for 24 minutes. And apparently Nick Cage was kind of like, I don't know, I was just feeling it. I was feeling this character and I didn't want to stop. So they actually have footage of Nicolas Cage singing Happy Birthday, being like an unhinged bastard for like another 25 minutes.
That should have been the trailer.
Yes, 25-minute trailer.
Just like that, and be like, just speed it up and it's still going. Like, what the fuck is happening? What do you mean? What does he mean? I was just in the mode and they're just feeling it. Like, sorry, but during those COVID years, when everyone was told to sing Happy Birthday twice to wash their hands, people fucking struggled for twice. How was he going for 25 fucking minutes? Also, did no one else, like, was no one else in the room like losing their fucking mind?
Maybe he missed Boris Johnson's instructions.
Yeah, he thought it was 2-0, not 2. Fuck it. But like, did no one yell cut? Like, just let him go. Wind him up and let him go.
I think it was that. I think it was kind of like, oh, maybe they were all just in the moment and they kind of just thought, well, we're going to get a really good performance out of him. So let's keep it going.
Use it. And then
I
they
know.
just did not use it. They used literally 1 second of it.
And apparently somewhere out there is also a song sung by Nicolas Cage as Longlegs.
I was like, oh, I knew that. And then I was like, actually, no, I didn't. Because, yeah, I thought that was one. Do you remember? I think we spoke about it because we really wanted to ring the number. Like when they were advertising this film, they put the number on the billboard and you could ring it, but it was an American number. So we were like, oh, it's going to cost too much.
Yeah.
I wondered if it was that, where it was like him just singing. Is it not Happy Birthday? Like,
no, he has other tastes in songs. I think it was called like Fire, Fire, Fire or something.
it's not the one he was singing in the car.
I don't know. I've not heard it myself. It's probably out there. I'm definitely going to try and YouTube it after this. But yeah, so that's the thing as well. So Nick Cage really kind of fucking got himself into this character. But funnily enough, he was kind of like, because people are obviously talking about sequels to this and if it's anything's going to carry on, because the ending does kind of build it up for potentially a sequel. I, for one, don't think there should be, but you know, that's just my opinion. But Nick Cage was very like, he was very much like, this is the one and only time I ever want to play a serial killer. He was like, I don't really like violence. I don't really like playing these kind of characters. So yeah, but he was just kind of like, this is a one-time only thing for me. So
no, they can't do a sequel because like Longlegs died. He smashed his face into the table. So unless it's a prequel and they go back to some of the previous deaths, like what? No.
Yeah. Well, some people on YouTube were saying how it might make a good like TV series where maybe each episode is focused on like how the devil influences people to do things. So it might not necessarily be about Longlegs, because Nick Cage has made it pretty clear he doesn't want to be in anymore. But it might be about the occult and how it influences people to do things. Maybe.
True. Although, admittedly, I feel like there's enough films and series about that. I mean, again, they may have a different take on it. Although, interestingly, I did see the Birthday Murders website gives more background information on each of Longlegs' prior victims, who were otherwise glossed over in the movie due to conservation of detail. So, again, it is like apparently there is the information out there. Like the other families do have stories. So again, like technically the story's there if they did want to go back and prequel it. Again, whether Nicolas Cage would come and play the same serial killer, he just doesn't want to do any others. Who knows? Also, again, not technically a serial killer.
True. But then I guess you've got the likes of Manson, who didn't actually technically do anything. He just kind of instructed everyone else to do it, but he's known as a serial killer.
Yeah, no. This is the thing. I am not defending Longlegs. I think he is absolutely guilty, but by the power of the devil, he is somehow technically not guilty. So
yeah. No, it's true. Like Charles Manson claimed that like the devil made him do all of these things, but it was actually his followers that killed those people. Absolutely. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's like who is to blame? I mean, they're all to fucking blame. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, fucking take some responsibility.
Yeah, literally.
Do you remember if you guessed the first time around that the mum was going to be involved?
I don't think I did. I'm not very good at guessing things like in films. I don't really. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I surprise myself where I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, I guess that. But a lot of the time I don't. I don't think I really think it through. But no, I didn't. I didn't see it coming. What about you?
I think I knew something was up with the mum. I didn't necessarily
Yeah.
think she was the accomplice, but I thought like something was up. I didn't register until it literally spelled it out for us though, that they were the family from the beginning.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it didn't, maybe it was said, but I didn't get until it was like literally
Yeah.
like, this was, this was your experience. But like, yeah, the fact the mum had stuff in the house, I was like, well, she's obviously something happened
Mm.
that she's like, so like, oh, I've removed it from my memory, wherever. And I was like, no, she definitely had like something involved.
Yeah.
I didn't expect her to be the accomplice. Although
Mm.
apparently there was something she did with the shotgun, like when it shows you the flashback, there's something she does that's like very specific. And then later on, when her mum pulls the shotgun out again, she does the same thing. So that was the giveaway that actually it was all connected. But I guess you probably have to know more about shotguns than we do to be like, oh, well, that's not the typical technique.
Yeah, well, tell, why don't you know that?
Why don't you know that? Why don't you go and practice with your shotgun so you know how to use the thing? But yeah, so I missed that one completely.
Yeah, no, yeah, I didn't get that. And I guess like they had a bit of a fractured relationship as well. Like you could tell on the phone, like they weren't that close. And I don't know whether that was kind of to do with Lee's personality because she came across as quite awkward. But I think it was sort of a combination of both of them. And then when they see each other in real life, like it's awkward then as well. So obviously what happened to her mum with Longlegs clearly like fractured their relationship as well. Like 'cause she's just like trying to keep her daughter safe, but at the same time she's slowly now believing in like Satan and the powers and things as well. So
Yeah.
she's becoming the bad guy alongside it, which I guess then caused her and her daughter to have a bad relationship. So
Yeah, no, for sure.
yeah, so yeah, you could tell maybe then because they weren't getting on that maybe something was happening between them. Like
Yeah.
yeah, so or something was happening to her. Like she was yeah, but no. So I liked it, but I wasn't necessarily surprised by it, but I just didn't really put two and two together.
No. I think the other one as well that I loved was when they went to the mental hospital and they were like, "Oh, did she have any visitors?" And they were like, "Yes, look at the log."
Mhm.
And then it was like, "Don't you check IDs?" And it's like, "That is a smart idea."
Yeah.
Does the guard check IDs?
Well, it does sound like a good idea, but no.
We really should be doing that, but no, we don't.
It's like, no, because it's the 90s. And it's like, that was only 30 years ago. Like, fucking hell, security was lax.
I know. I do know what you mean in terms of like it being set in the 90s, but it looked older. I don't know if that was a combination. It was obviously like the camera work and the effects. I did kind of like it though. I think it was a combination of like I think Longlegs' character, where he is trying to sort of cling on to that younger time.
Yeah,
And
true.
there's obviously a lot of like 70s references, like T-Rex is a huge reference in the film. Apparently Oz Perkins was just like writing this film and kind of like he said he literally did it all by himself, so he found it quite lonely, and he was listening to a lot of T-Rex at the time, and he was kind of like, actually this album and this vibe goes really well with the film. So it was just a fluke really that he incorporated T-Rex into the film, which I thought was really good.
So I wonder if listening to it kind of made him want to write it
Yeah.
that age. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think that's also like what makes the film look older is those kind of like 70s and old school references as well.
But yeah, they changed. It was going to be set in 1992, and they bumped it 1 year so that it was so the picture in the office could be of Bill Clinton rather than of George W. Bush, W.H. Bush. Which I think, as you said, like the director was like, not that he's much better. But I was also like, just don't put up a picture of a president.
Yeah, I think that's what FBI agents used to do.
Probably, actually, because I guess that is it, isn't it? Like that's their number one priority: protect the president.
Yeah.
But fuck it.
Wow. Crazy.
We're in England, we just pop a picture of the Queen because we're like, yeah, fuck them. And we still love Queenie, even if she's passed. Do you think you would survive then? Longlegs, the birthday Satanist killer.
Well, yes, because my birthday's on the 21st, and I'm not a child.
Actually, that's the point with the numbers. Do we know exactly what numbers they were?
No, I guess it was it the 14th of every month, 13th of every month?
I
Not
think
every month.
so.
If you were born on the 14th.
But you had to be like 6 days around.
Yeah.
Because of the triangle, I was like, oh, are they going from like 1 to 14 and back down again? I got so fucking confused.
I think you're right. I think it was like, yeah, 6 days around, like it could have been around that time.
Okay, so I might have been okay.
You might have been okay.
Who fucking knows?
Let me check before we answer this.
Before we confirm whether or not we're safe. I mean, admittedly, if I'd seen Longlegs, I'd have screamed bloody murder.
So Lee discovers that each family had a 9-year-old daughter born on the 14th of the month.
Okay, so the same as her.
The murders all occurred within 6 days before or after said birthday.
Okay, so we're both safe.
We're both safe. So no, I absolutely would fucking survive.
Sorry, Longlegs. Which is
Sorry,
funny.
mate.
Funny they didn't pick the 13th.
Yeah.
When you're talking about the devil.
Interesting. Yeah, that is weird, isn't it?
But yes, so we're both surviving. Easy peasy. Also, because we don't trust this look.
And I don't have a child, so there's no potential in Longlegs coming for my kid.
If we ever have a kid and it's like due on the 14th, squeeze your fucking legs. So you will wait one more day.
I love how you said if ever we have a kid, Tell, as if we're going to have a baby together. Maybe we will.
We'll just adopt a child together unless their birthday is the 14th. And then we'll be like, look, we're going to have to change that, I'm afraid.
Yeah, we're going to have to move some things around.
Yeah, sorry. We'll have to go off a different calendar.
Okay.
Yes.
So, okay, it's how I'm a bit nervous about your answer, but we're going to go with it. Longlegs. How many spookies are you giving Longlegs? And what is your favourite spooky moment of the film?
So my favourite spooky moment, I'm going to go with the interrogation with the smashing his face. Just because, again, that bit, I generally did go, oh, okay. And so I thought that was pretty good. I'm going to give it 1.5. I really don't think I'd say it's one of those where, like, if I watch it again and am I going to like it more? Maybe, but am I going to watch it again? Probably fucking not. I just really didn't enjoy it. But when I was going through all the reviews, it did feel very 1-star, 5-star. Like, some people loved it, went to see it in the cinema like several times. And then there were people who were like, what a waste of time. And it's just weird. Apparently it's for a higher intelligence. But what about you? What was your favorite spooky moment, and what are you giving it spookies out of 5?
Spooky moment, I'm gonna say, I love the interrogation scene as well, but I'm gonna say the dolls and when the eyes light up. That happens in a couple of scenes.
Yeah.
And then following on from that, you've got like all the family sacrifices and things as well. So I thought that was really creepy and really scary. So I like that. And I'm going to give this 4 out of 5 spookies. I really enjoyed it. I love the cinematography in it. Nicolas Cage in it was great. He's also a boy, as I've said. So, I'm going to give him a lot of love. I really like the character of Longlegs, and I like the influences. I didn't think that it was particularly a rip-off or was kind of copying Silence of the Lambs in any way. I felt like there was some sort of bits in it, and I love the marketing for it. So I have a lot of love for this film. So I'm going to give it 4.
All right. Well, that was our Longlegs episode. Join us again. We are now officially back for season 10. So join us again next week. Follow us along on all the socials. Subscribe, like, love, leave us a comment, all the good stuff. You know what to do by now. And then you'll see what our next film is going to be, so you can follow along. Until then, bye.
Bye-bye.
Don't
die.
Nailed it.
See, we bought our Longlegs today.
Ugh.